like the mini faces of Eva crack me up. I love it. So I'm trying one more time. That's not it. Jesus. Well, we may not be able to go on Facebook right now, but we're going to go and get started. So let's find out.
Wait a second. Why don't you try just leave and come back in right quick? Try that.
End the meeting for everybody.
No, because I'm a co-host. It won't end the meeting.
Okay, then I will do just that. Here we go. Let's try this.
So as soon as he's gone, let's talk about him.
Of course.
Because it's not recording, right?
Now it is, yeah.
No, I know
it turns it off.
Hey, when he was a little boy.
Oh, I wonder who's in the waiting room.
There's people in the waiting room.
Yeah, I'm letting them know.
Hi, Miss Emily.
Hey, Em.
Hey guys,
Hi.
how are we? Eva, good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever. How are you?
I know. It's been a while. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good, looking lovely as always.
Thank you. Everybody.
So for those who are just joining us, we're having a bit of a technical, issue, and we're figuring it out real fast, and then we're ready to rock.
Now he can't get back in. Do you have to let him in?
I mean, I don't have anything pop up, and I don't think it would need it. He can just click enter the room.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to, because it's his account. He can sign in from anything.
Yeah. Like the call is listed from his account, so it automatically should let him in.
So Jacob's having problems getting into his own.
Well, he was here, but he can't launch it to share on Facebook.
So we're trying to figure that out more.
Solomon's here too. Wow, this is a good Friday group. I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, so we're going to go and get started.
Jacob, I can do it. I'm doing it right now.
Wonderful. Is it going on my page or yours?
It's going to Investor Party.
I'll figure it out. Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the party. Everybody with their mute buttons on over there. I see you. We got Latin America in the house. Hello, Sullivan. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Jacob. It's going good. I'm freezing over here, but we're good.
Why are you freezing over there?
It's winter still.
58 degrees.
Jesus Lord. Well, let me be honest. It is cold here in Florida. I'm at 85?
You dare say that it's cold in Florida. What are you talking about?
Chilly.
It actually was chilly this morning because it rained, and the bike ride was actually a little chilly this morning. So
it's gray and cloudy and rainy.
Just a little bit, Em. A little bit.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave now.
Right?
It's okay. You know what? Bitter looks good on you. I love it. It's wonderful. Well, welcome to your Friday Investor Party. We have our stock market update with Miss Emily Murray, and then we are going to have the incomparable Eva MEDILEK telling us everything she wants to tell us. So buckle up. You may or may not like it. I always get chills. So we're going to go and have a good time with that. We call it a truth serum. Now, before we get to bring Miss Eva on, we're going to go ahead and talk. Emily, darling, you ready?
You got two E's here today. You got Eva and Emily. My goodness.
It is going to be, and I've got Matthew and Mark in the house. I always get them mixed up too. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I will tell you that something I'm finding fascinating is the fact that the POTUS and the FLOTUS, which, what horrible acronyms, but still better than the names, they have now contracted COVID. I'm not trying to say, anything, because I don't get political on this show. I keep my mouth shut. As you guys know, I have no opinions on anything ever. But if I were to have an opinion, it would probably be reflected in the stock market. So Emily, tell us what is going on today with all of this news.
Well, obviously the market did react to the news of the president getting testing positive with the COVID. So there was a lot of overnight reaction to the market, which continued off this morning. And then there was the announcement of the stimulus bill, which kind of propped the market back up again. So we're like in this range right now. It's just like, we're just trying to figure out what the heck is going on, right? But it's what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, right? As we're leading up to the election and with all these other things that are happening, we're going to expect to have some kind of volatility. What's really driving the market today in terms of of news wise and whatever else is happening today, we had unemployment come out today. Right, so the jobs numbers came out today, and we had 661,000 new jobs created, which is lower than what was estimated. They were expecting to bring in about 900,000 jobs, so that number came in lower than expected. Unemployment came in at 7.9, which is lower than what it was expected. So that's a good thing. So there was, just a bunch of mixed data coming out today and yesterday with jobs claims as well. So, we have all of that going on. To bring in about 9. What also came out this week was with the airlines. I don't know if you guys saw or read on the reports that airlines were gonna start furloughing people if a stimulus bill was not passed, and starting to have layoffs and all that stuff. So there's just all this stuff that's just happening this week, and that's kind of like what we anticipate to continue to happen over the next several months until we just find some stability in the recovery efforts to reopen businesses back up again and to get into full mode of employment and vaccine stuff and all that stuff, which we know is not going to happen anytime soon, right? If anything, in terms of vaccine, that was also news also this week, right? That propped the market up a little bit with companies talking about the vaccine and then saying that it's not going to be ready until the springtime. So there's just been all of this different types of news happening throughout this week, which is causing the market to to just have what it's having. There is a shift though, where we're seeing tech down, and we're having like the sector rotation type stuff where your industrials are doing well this week. So you can see the money rotating from different sectors. In fact, today the NASDAQ is what's taking the bigger hit more than anything else. So you're starting to see that shift where the stocks that were leading the market or leading the charge with the bullish run, they're now starting to slow down and they're not having that much of an effect anymore. You're starting to see, the money start to move around. People are considering, with the airlines getting, and I think part of that stimulus bill, the airlines are really going to get a lot of support. So, there could be a play for, for the airlines coming up, again, not anytime soon. I don't think they're going to have a full flight of flights, back and running just because they're going to get that stimulus package. But you can see that they're going to get rescued yet again with what's happening. So, you can make an argument for airlines, having some sort of recovery at some point down the line, but not anytime soon. So it's just been a mixed bag of a lot of stuff just happening. But what drove the market, to last night was the news of obviously the president having the virus and the stimulus bill as well. So, but other than that, it's just
one man's prostate exam can change everything for a global economy. If only he wasn't impotent, but no, he's not impotent. I'm sorry, we all know that he can fuck anything. But the point is, we are trying our best to understand what is going on with our economy. And what I was reading earlier, and I was going to ask you about this, the stocks that we are expecting to grow during this are the stay-at-home stocks continuously. And I did not know that they've made Microsoft and Amazon, they consider them now essentials. Because if you're going to be working from home and this theme of working from home for an extended period of time, they've now named those two stocks as essentials, as well as the other stocks that have been going so well, like Zoom and Skype and all those others that have been utilities. They said look for utilities, utility sector. Would you agree with that?
I guess to some degree you could. I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that argument. I mean, a lot of tech companies, whether or not they, they qualify as as stay-at-home stocks, tech tends to do well in certain in situations like this where everybody's depending on tech, right? So even companies like a Best Buy, right, which sells a lot of products related to tech, right? Just your computers and your smartphones and your tablets and smart TVs and whatnot, the things that people are using when they're staying at home and having to create this new environment of distance learning with kids and all these other things. Yeah, I would consider that to be,
Can we talk about that for a second? Okay, Autumn, you're here. Carlos, you as well. I feel so bad for all of these parents right now. Is Elise still on here? Because I feel like I should.
Don't forget about Emily.
She's not here right now, but I'm like, dear God, I feel so bad for you people. Mine are out of school and I want to smack them. I can't imagine what it's like to be a second grade teacher without any training. You gotta make sure not only you know how to work that damn tablet, but your toddler does as well. Like Elise, poor thing, is putting her kindergartner through the first day of kindergarten on a tablet. Talk about a rite of passage. I don't know how they're doing it.
Well,
Like, how are you doing? Oh, I know. At what point are you allowed to start drinking if you're homeschooling your children? Anyone?
7 a.m.
There you go.
I
Without a doubt.
I think it depends. It depends on the age. It depends on the age of your kids, right? I think that's the defining line is how old are your kids now? Mine are 12 and 15, and you would think that, being that they don't actually have to get up and or even shower to get on the bus or walk to school, that they would be on time. But at least once or twice a week, I'm having to knock on their bedroom doors. I'm like, "Are you guys up?" And they're like, yeah. No, you're not. You logged into class and went back to sleep because you don't have to have your video on, right? So it's like,
you don't have to have your video on?
No.
Oh God.
No. So they just log in and do their attendance and say, yes, I'm here. And then they're up to playing video games. So, I mean, I just said this. I said,
#fail. The college courses my friends are taking, they don't want to be engaged. You need to get the preteens in there and focus.
If you fail online school, we are going to have a problem, because I mean, they're at the age where I don't have to be on top of them because they know what they're supposed to be doing, right? But at the same time, it's like, if you all fail online school, we are going to have a problem. I'm gonna let you be, because you're young, young adults, young teenagers, trying to have that rite of passage that you can be responsible. So I'm not going to be on your neck every single day, but if you all fail online school, we are going to have a problem. But I guess it depends on the age of the child. But yeah, I don't know how parents with the younger kids are doing it.
I mean, I don't have anybody to be on top of. Well, actually, that's a lie. Those two boys upstairs, I've got to get. Wait, that sounded really wrong. Let me back up and try that again. The kids in my house, I don't have to monitor as closely, except you would think at the age of 18 and 25, they will learn how to set alarms. Again, it surprises me the intellect behind so many human beings at any age. Anyway, we'll move on from that, because this is a different conversation for a great bottle of Chardonnay. Yes, Steph.
Good question for Emily. So Disney announced yesterday that they're laying off 28,000 employees, through especially in-person employees. Has that been reflected in the unemployment numbers, or that's because they haven't filed for unemployment yet?
They haven't yet. So yeah, so that's the only time that those numbers reflect is when people actually file new claims. So yeah, so it has not until those individuals actually go into whatever their state unemployment sites are. That's when they count. And then once they're off of the system, they stop counting. So they can go through the whole unemployment phase and collect the benefits, but once they're no longer getting benefits, they're no longer counted, but they're still unemployed. So those unemployment numbers tend to be a little bit off, because they're not accounting for people who have gone through the unemployment phase, have exhausted their benefits, right? But are still unemployed.
Got it. Okay, thank you for that clarity. So I'm sure next week they're going to see that number change, right? Because of those recent announcements and other industries as well announcing big layoffs, and not
Yeah,
even furlough.
yeah,
like
and we're
layoffs.
starting to see, yeah, we're starting to see those numbers tick up to the levels of where we were in 2008, right? And I mean, it's the announcements of these companies that are announcing layoffs and furloughs are, starting to filter out to non-affected areas, right? So I mean, we obviously expected that in the travel industry and the hotels and airlines and casinos and whatnot. But when it starts to trickle out to other companies that are not necessarily, affected by the virus as much as other ones are, then yeah, it's a little bit concerning.
Well, we do have enough to be concerned about. Let's be very clear. We are in 2020, an election year. And there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. So we're all just trying to make our way with it. And some of the best pieces of advice that we can give each other is to stay strong, build a strong community, and have mental toughness. And the woman who has taught me so much about mental toughness is now joining us on this call today, Miss Eva MEDILEK. Hi, beautiful. How are you?
Everybody, hey Jacob. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I'm so excited you're here. I was looking for this all week long. Breathing.
I know you announced it a week early.
Yes, I did. We're trying this thing called marketing. So it's working. And that's actually Steph. Steph knows what's going on.
No, but it was funny because when I saw it, I'm like, wait, I'm not supposed to be on tomorrow. It's next week. I got so pissed because, normally I'm a little bit ditzy about those things, but no, thank God I had my stuff together.
Well, darling, you always pull it off and look like you are doing it fabulously. What have you been up to? What's new in your world?
What's new in my world? Well, I've got my co-pilot is taking a break over there. Peter just left for Germany yesterday, so it's just me and Lexi for the next couple of weeks. But no, things are good. Things are good. I'm really being visible, trying to just support people, in the craziness that's going on and create a world of thrivers and not just survivors and not just coping, but really moving forward and making stuff happen in a positive direction for your life at home, at work, and in your communities. So I love doing that.
So for those of you who have not met Eva before, let me give you a little history, or let's put it the right way, her story.
Her story.
Her story, that's right. Eva used to be one of my absolute favorite coworkers, and we became very, very close. When I decided to put it all on the line and start my nonprofit, Eva called me to offer support. And I remember that conversation so clearly. I was sitting in my car outside of a Blaze Pizzeria, and Eva was in a bathroom somewhere hiding. And we just had a great conversation. It's true. It was true.
It is true. It is true. I was at the Hilton Del Mar in the bathroom in the dark.
In the dark. That's what it is. That's what you gotta do. And so she offered her program of high performance coaching. And I knew that in order for me to show up and be my best self for these kids that I wanted to help, I was going to need to show up for myself first. Eva was amazing. And for 6 months, I did 2 sessions with her. She gave me the tools to step up and become a high performer. And I'll let you tell me if you think it was effective or not. For those of you who've been watching, you already know the answer.
How's it working out for you?
Oh my goodness, we just opened our second home.
Such a proud mama. Such a proud mama.
And actually, Jessica's here. She's the one running it in Colorado Springs. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Now, I mean, I saw such potential in your vision. I was enrolled in your vision, which is one of the things I teach in high performance is really how do you enroll other people in your vision? And I remember, without getting all your details away, Jacob, that you didn't have a clear vision of how other people would be enrolled in your vision. And that was a huge breakthrough for you to just keep focused on the vision and not on you as a person. And a lot of what holds us back is, we don't feel good enough. We don't feel strong enough. We don't feel smart enough. We're not there yet. We're not, all of this not enoughness that keeps us from really it keeps us in our own way of really moving towards the vision. And so I know one of the main pieces you and I worked on was, this ain't about you, it's about the vision. It's about the vision, and stay focused about the vision, talk about the vision, talk about your dreams, talk about how you see this expanding and growing. I see when we started, you had just started the one home. You were still waiting for nonprofit status to come in, but you also had a vision of opening up several homes here and there. And so we only started working together, January, February, and
Anyway,
literally within a month, I mean, within a year's time, less than a year's time, you can see how much has happened, what you created, and the support system that you built around you, which probably would have never happened had we not directed your focus to stay vision focused and really get a clear vision on what that looked like. What do you think? Agree, not agree?
I completely agree. And also part of it was giving myself permission to stay focused. I am live, if you don't mind.
Sorry.
It's okay. Is having the permission to be live and to be focused and to enroll people in my vision and not feeling guilty, because it was amazing when I didn't intend to, I didn't know this was going to grow as fast as it did. And the fact that it has, I didn't do this. We did this.
Okay.
I just happened to be the catalyst. Everybody that's on this call right now and people watching on Facebook and even people who aren't, there's an entire community that has elevated this mission to be bigger than oneself. And I guess when you're in your own head, you fail to realize that you're not the only one that wants to be bigger than yourself. And it's not something to be ashamed of, it's something to be proud of. It's scary as hell, but you know what? You only get to live once, so why not do it? Why not do it all the way? And it's been so encouraging, and I'm so grateful. And I wore this today.
I see that. I see
And
that. Mine's in the hamper.
hamper.
Mine's in the hamper.
Yeah,
But you know, if you remember, I think I said to you that people want the opportunity to have an impact and make a difference. And the more that you stay in your own way, waiting for you to be ready, for you to be good enough, ready enough, worthy enough, or whatever stories we all make up about ourselves in our head. I think I was talking to someone the other day about imposter syndrome, you know, like, who's going to follow me? I haven't done this before. Well, you see what you've created, but the moment you give people the opportunity to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and make a difference in people's lives, you have no problem enrolling into your vision. You have no problem challenging people to really play a bigger game, which is what you're doing for the kids in the house, because we're all used to playing small and safe and secure, which really keeps us in a box, because stepping out of the box can be scary, can be fearful, can be fatiguing, and it could be frustrating as well, because there are uncharted waters. But just like before we came on live, you know, you had mentioned, I forget exactly how you said it, but how do you get people to literally play a bigger game? You know, how do you get people to believe that they can have influence and impact in making a difference in the world and not feeling like, well, who am I? I mean, we are all pretty much starting from the same place. And, you know, it really takes having clarity and having focus is the first thing, because, you know, confused minds don't buy. When you're not sure what you're doing, you're not sure what to bring people into. And like I like to say, you have to know yourself first, which is really where we spent a lot of time, into the deeper knowing of yourself, which is really important to be aware of certain things in your past that created who you are as an adult and how that impacts. And so once you know yourself, you can really start the transformation process and really start to play a bigger game.
That's so true. And it's something that I learned through our time together. And what I've really discovered through 2020 is you have to learn we used to say this in my coaching, you have to have a love affair with yourself. You have to love your flaws and see them as beautiful. You have to encourage yourself. You have to talk as nice to yourself as you would your pets and your kids. You have to be kind to you. And I wasn't. I come from the dance industry. Autumn and Carlos, I love when they're on these calls because they understand. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Here's some truth. Autumn, get ready. So when you are in an industry that your entire career is dictated on how people tell you that you're not good enough in what you're doing, how the hell can you have positive self-esteem? Right, Stephanie?
Well, yeah, anybody in the entertainment industry, it really has that level of scrutiny and criticism. So there's no wonder you take it with you wherever you go. Who's looking at me? Are they judging me? What are they thinking? Da, 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 da. And so we often are so hard on ourselves, which in turn makes us hard on other people, which kind of has a bit of a snowball effect. I mean,
you just hit on something. Yeah, it does. Ooh. Yeah. Autumn, Carlos, do you guys find yourself, and actually Stephanie, do you guys find yourself having unrealistic expectations of others? I think that was just a microphone. Don't know if that was a word.
So it's not just because of my like theater and like acting background, but as the many bits of nuggets, like nugget wisdoms that Eva has imparted to me, you know, there comes a point that our level of disappointment for other, like we start like shrinking our level of how do we say that again? I guess our thresholds for like trusting people, we start shrinking it over time. So like our level of disappointment becomes smaller and more tighter. So now more people in our lives who have not done us harm are now easily falling into disappointment in our vision because we've been like bogged down. I mean, I remember being 13 years old, getting cast as one of the lead roles in a musical and being told, congratulations. However, for you to keep the role, you have to lose weight. You have to lose 10 pounds. I was 8th grade and 13 years old, you know? And at the time I didn't think much of it because that's just the industry. Until like now I've, you know, worked through a lot of that to be like, that's actually really unhealthy. And it's about breaking those expectations and not making them normal anymore. That's kind of where I look at how I can make the difference.
well, society, you know, as a whole, when you talk about the systems that are built, whether, you know, the systemic racism that all of us were raised in, and you know, the pressure society puts on us, which we in turn put on ourselves, of perfectionism. And so the greater you are a perfectionist, the more you tend to be disappointed. I mean, hey, in school, you're graded, you're judged. That grading system is judging, and children don't have the emotional maturity to know that performance is being judged, not you personally. And so, yeah, maybe you didn't do well on the test. That doesn't make you a bad person. You failed the test, but you're not a failure. And unfortunately, those distinctions are not really emphasized in our children's psyche, to know that you made a mistake and the mistake is actually helping you learn faster, as opposed to making you wrong and bad and a failure. And that's just a failure of our system that we get to. That's what personal growth and development is. It's really taking responsibility for yourself and how you show up. I mean, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and you know, one of the things that those of you who've done any relationship style work with me know that I am the quintessential yo-yo, because I expect everyone to perform at a certain level, to have the same standards that I do. And my disappointment comes when my expectations aren't met. And a lot of us do that in life anyway, which can create some conflict, some anger, some disappointment, and really affect how we show up for other people because we feel that disappointment. And when you take responsibility for how you're showing up and really know why you show up that way and the effect that that has on your relationships, then you can then transform. You can then shift. You can then make different choices that will give you different outcomes. You know, when you have S plus R equals R, the situation plus your response equals the results. So that R, if you react, you'll have a different result than if you respond responsibly. So that's where you have that choice to make. And that's one of the things that I help my clients with in my high performance coaching program, where I marry high performance strategies with relationship coaching, because how you do one thing is how you do everything, is really teach people how to take 100% responsibility for the results in their lives. Because most of us walk around victim. This happened to me. Anything that happened to you happens to you. If you looked at it through eyeballs of happening for you, what's the lesson for me in this? What's the growth opportunity for this? Why is my heart broken? Why am I constantly disappointed? Why isn't this working out? Why won't anybody believe in me, trust me, follow me? Take personal responsibility for that. And that's hard to look at yourself that way. It's not easy.
That's actually,
Once you do, you grow like a multi-gazillion-dollar business in 4 months, right, Jacob?
the relationship coaching that you start with in your program, I don't think I would have been anywhere near as the high performance coaching would have nearly as effective had you not added that, because I needed to heal and I didn't recognize all the wounds that were there. I just knew I just recently single and the wound was open. Just squeeze it out, get all that shit out while you can. Because I don't want to go back there later and reopen it. I was gonna dig deep and take that crap and throw it out. The thing that was cool though, was Eva took all that crap and made it manure. And therefore it made all the soil that she was planting all these seeds in so rich. And it's been incredible. It's been an incredible 2020 has been incredible.
Yeah.
Really
Not many people can say that about their 2020.
Most people choose not to say that about their 2020 because they just spend their time on that.
I mean, look at it. We started literally in the new year and we all had high hopes for 2020, right? Because I don't know about you, but I had a crap 2019 with the amount of death that was in my life at that time. And it was just like, okay, I'm ready for a new year where nobody dies. And then COVID hit and like millions of people are like, wait, what? But the fact that we created this foundation, we built a foundation to shift, to be able to pivot when we need to be able to look at, how many times you heard me say, look at what worked and what didn't work. And based on results, what worked and what didn't work. You don't need to take everything personally. Just, okay, when I did this, this was the result. Is that the result I wanted? No. And you just, I don't know, it sounds simple when you say it, but when you put it in practice, it's not so easy, is it?
No.
It's not. But to have somebody show you your blind spots and what you're not looking at and then come from a different perspective, we get to have that experience in every area of our lives to be able to, for example, with the climate in the world, people wear a mask, don't wear a mask, social distance, don't social distance. There's racial injustice and inequality. Well, there isn't. Why are we making everything about race? To have the skill set, to have a conversation where you can open up people to look at a different perspective because of how you are showing up as an influencer is really, really powerful in creating sustainable transformation.
It's been liberating. There was an expression, I don't remember where I heard it, I don't remember where it comes from, but I think of it all the time. We have 3 faces. Each one of us wear 3 masks. The one we show to the world, the one we show to our close friends and family, and the one we only share with ourselves. What I found through the work I've done with high performance and the personal development journey of 2020 is I can walk through life with one mask. I don't have to make everybody happy. Only I am responsible for my happiness, and only I am responsible for the impact that I can make. And just knowing that is a whole fuck ton more powerful. I don't have to go out there and please that guy. Who don't care? I don't know his name. I don't care if he likes me. I got something bigger going on. I don't have to please everybody because I'm never going to. If you live your life trying to make everybody happy, you're not living. You're not living. Oh my God. Like, let me tell you, Jesus didn't have all the fans in the world either. So come on, move on from that.
Well, that's a fear a lot of people make because of some experiences they had in their early life experiences of being judged, and maybe some consequences of not making everyone happy, whether it's, parents, friends, teachers in school, colleagues, bosses, like whenever those you were being impressed upon and those impressionable experiences. I mean, if I may share something, hopefully you don't mind, but remember when we talked about proof of concept?
I know where you're going now, yes.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to really share anything vulnerable, but for some reason, some people feel that they have to prove themselves worthy before trying.
Well, there it goes.
No, I'm saying general. I'm really saying general without going into detail. I think we all have an experience in life where, whether it's dance competitions, you've got to prove you're this before you get the trophy. Right? Before you're worthy of, being rated or ranked or whatever. You can put this in any profession. And I know you come from a profession of dance, so you were scored a lot, in addition to regular school where you're graded. So, learning and finding out these little, these blind spots that we have to what could be holding us back from showing up bigger and bolder in the world is really the power of the work of high performance. Because some of the things you and I worked on, and that I worked on with a couple of people who I've worked with that are on this, on this live here, were things that you didn't realize that you couldn't see until you had someone else take a look at it and point it out to you. And those are big aha moments that happen. And once you have those ahas and you break them down, I mean, Jacob, how much easier it is to break through them once you realize them and you see them and you recognize them.
Yeah.
Then it's like, get out of my way, right?
It's like, I'm done with you, go.
Yeah.
You're no longer serving me, go away.
Exactly. And then you can really have more extraordinary results in your life. But if you can't see it, it's always going to come up like a whack-a-mole and come up and just like startle you and not have you move forward. It's always that invisible shield or bond or barrier that keeps you from really moving forward as powerfully as we all can.
When we had that conversation, that was one of the more powerful sessions we had. Every session was powerful. There was only one where I hated you at the end of it. And not you, it was just the
There was
lesson.
more than one.
I'm only committing to one. But no, those emails. But still, what was that?
I have my notes.
Oh, yeah, good. Mm-hmm. So, but they were all helpful. But the one that was, that one was interesting because she told me that, my big thing is something I heard all my entire life as a child is prove it. You want this? Prove it. You want to go there? Prove it. You want to do this? Prove it. And I did not realize what that, has anybody else had that, something like that? Yeah, go prove it. Prove it. And I didn't realize that had really taken a very toxic root into my psyche. I never even thought of it. I mean, it's just something you say, right? No, you don't have to. You can actually just say, why? I am proving it. I'm enough. I don't need to prove it. And when she hit that on the head, I bawled like a baby. It was done. I was like, okay, thank you, and shut. Like that was incredibly powerful. What are some of the things that you guys want to ask or share with Eva? I mean, but let me tell you this. If you share with Eva, she's going to give you Eva back. So buckle up. You will need to hear what she has to say. You may not want to hear what she has to say.
I only share with permission, honey. I'm not, my children have taught me long ago, you're my mom, not my coach. So I know when they say, don't coach me, mom. I'm like, okay. But if I were to coach you, here's what I'd say. But pretend I'm not.
You're working out?
You still working out, Eva? Yes, Nelson. However, I started a 7-day challenge today with a coach, Kelly Rutley. It's a 7 pounds in 7-day challenge, and we have to surrender to her, and she's got a strict no working out rule, but I do have to walk 30 minutes a day. And I started that yesterday and today. So I am staying congruent into the coaching that I signed up for 7 days. And it's killing me because my bicep just got a different little line here where I could see it. And I'm like, oh my God, is it going to go away? Is my muscles going to whittle to nothing? But yes, something's happening every single day. See, your clients keep you congruent too to what you say you're going to do. I love doing challenges with my clients, well, if you do this, I'll do that, and let's keep each other accountable. That's the beauty of coaching, and that's the power, is being congruent, having the accountability. And coaching is way more than an accountability partner. You can call up your girlfriend or your guy friend for that. But really, let's do a challenge together. Let's challenge ourselves and know what you can get on the other side of that challenge.
I can't
for marriages too.
Yeah, you just got certified in the next level, didn't you?
No, that's happening next month.
Okay, well, I can't
Don't
wait.
worry, I got you. Yeah, no, I'm really excited to do that because those sessions are called the charge sessions, and I just have in my mind, it's just like charging the cavalry. Okay, we've worked on you, we've worked on the habits of high performance, you know what you need to do, now let's charge. I mean, can you imagine what's possible in the charge sessions? Like, I can't wait.
Oh dear God.
And to have Brendan training me, like that's the icing on the cake. He's just so cute and goofy.
And he's got great theories. I follow him on Instagram. So does anybody have anything they'd like to ask, share, comment?
There's a puppy.
Is there anyone that has how many of you guys have ever had a coach before? Could be a sports coach, could be a personal development coach, could be a personal trainer, could be a pastor, right? So how has a coach impacted your lives? In what way? Class?
Well, teaching fundamentals, right?
Teaching fundamentals?
Yeah. I've had I've had sports coaches, obviously. I've had a business coach, a life coach, trading coach, real estate coach. Right? And yeah, the biggest thing, right? They teach you the fundamentals so you don't hurt yourself, or so you can learn how to play the game correctly, and life lessons, how to not screw people over, and how to keep bridges, how to keep relationships, how to make sure your business works.
I like to say there's 4 C's to coaching that coaches help you get clarity on really what to focus, what your goals are, and what to focus on, and really and in reaching those goals and that dream and that vision. And that can change all the time. That's why I always have a coach in my life for one thing or another, like always. I feel like a little bit naked without one, and practicing what you preach helps. Stop it. The congruency, which keeps you in integrity and true to your word, and having somebody to keep you accountable for what you say you're going to do. Because a lot of times we let ourselves off the hook I didn't feel like it. And, when you're moving from amateur and pro to pro, feelings ain't got nothing to do with it, because feelings are amateur. And like Tina always said, what's love got to do with it? It's not about your emotions and your feelings in business. It's about your actions and being congruent to the actions. They also challenge you and push you to the next level, because instinctively, most of us like to either play small or play like a squirrel, 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 squirrel. And really just bringing that focus and keeping you congruent to staying on track and in integrity is the fourth C. So we've got clarity, congruence, challenge, and camaraderie. There are certain things that you can strategize and talk about with your coach that is very objective than your employee that you may be paying, who may yes boss you, or a family friend or a coworker who doesn't feel safe maybe being 100% honest with you, or doesn't have that level of growth and development that you're going to for advice. Yes, there are always people and advisors and counselors in your life, but I feel like coaching really tells you like it is, because you're paying a coach to tell you like it is, not to make you feel good. And there's a difference there. And your coach doesn't always make you feel good, but Jacob wouldn't know that.
No, I would have no idea. No. So when does someone know that it's time to level up? What are some indicators that they know that they need to start playing bigger?
Well, they have 3 things holding them back, pretty much: fear, fatigue, frustration, kind of feeling like you're spinning your wheels, you're not getting anywhere, you're working really hard and you're tired, but you don't have enough to show for it. Like, why is nothing working? And a fear of being seen. The whole what if, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, so I'm not going to try yet. And what if people judge me? What are they going to say? What if they say, this is a big one I hear, who do you think you are to be doing this? Especially if you've never done it before. And so if those 3 F words are starting to hold you back from playing a bigger game, and it's time to have a coach to help you through it. I mean, the frustration that we all feel when we keep trying things and they're not working out. Why aren't they working out? What are you not seeing? What's working and what's not working. The frustration is, I'm working so hard to do X, Y, and Z, and nothing's happening. I'm exhausted. Mentally, I'm exhausted physically, and you're working all of these hours in the day, and you maybe feel productive, but how effective are you? So there's a little bit of a difference between being productive and being effective. And I would also add to that the distractions. How are you managing distractions? How are you planning your day so that you're not sacrificing your health, well-being, and your relationships while you are achieving professional growth and success? Because balance isn't always even. So when you say have balance to your life and your day, it's never going to look like this. It's about, when is it appropriate to spend more time on one thing than another, and really just getting a good handle on what that looks like.
What harmony? Yeah, very well said, Stephanie. Having that harmony. I agree. And it's funny because I was actually reflecting on when it's a good time for coaching. When I was a couple of days ago, well, I was writing stuff for our grant, which, we started writing a grant this year because that was on our agenda, right? So, so I know, right? So we have Nelson. You're not texting me anymore. So I had decided that we need to put our work into Maslow's hierarchy, right? So the first thing we all need is we need to feel safe. We know we need to feel safe. We need food and shelter. Those are our primary basis. We need to have food and shelter. Then we can work on other things above that, right? Like connections with others, education, personal development, things like that. But along there are 5 tiers. The last one is self-actualization, where you are awakened and you know you want to be more. And that's when everything else is kind of there. Well, the first 4 levels, one of the images I was actually researching, which I thought was wonderful, it has it said that there's at some point comes a level of complacency and when you get comfortable. And when you become comfortable, that's when you stop. Like if you the bottom 4 tiers of Maslow's hierarchy met, it is really easy to stop there and you never actually achieve your true potential. And that's your self-actualization. If you feel like that's your case, and you feel complacent or comfortable, that's what a coach can help you start to achieve. That's what I found happened for me.
Comfort is a dangerous place to be if you really are up to playing a bigger game in the world. There's not a lot of people who can handle it. So this is really not for everybody, but you really have to want to be more so that you can do more in order to have more. But it all starts with your being, as we know. It all starts with your being. But yeah, I mean, there are people who just want to be comfortable, and that's okay. That's them. But there are a certain level of people that want to perform at a higher level, but also want, like Stephanie said, more harmony in their lives. They want to have the professional growth and success along with personal fulfillment. And often we are taught that you have to sacrifice one for the other. It's not a both and, it's an either or. And learning how to create an either or and to give yourself the both. You know, there's no reason why your family life has to suffer because you're building a business, you know, which was the case for me. And, you know, I know it because I experienced it and nearly lost it all, nearly lost my why. My why is my family, my husband. We had these big dreams and goals together. And I was working so hard to get us the financial freedom to do it that I totally forgot about the relationship. And, you know, our relationship was really in a breakdown.
I can see that too with my relationship previous.
Yeah.
Jessica had a question. I've asked if people want to say anything, but I don't know if she's by her phone or not. So I want to give her the chance to speak. Jessica, are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
You have a question for Eva, you said.
Eva, you mentioned something earlier about yourself, about being very driven and having a hard time. I guess when other people don't perform necessarily the way you want them to, you get very either upset or depressed or whatever it is. It's very frustrating. I'm very similar in that nature, to the point where I was actually told to basically find a new job from another place that I was at, because I just wanted people to perform the way I knew they could, but they didn't want to. So you talked about taking responsibility for all of that. Like, I feel very much like I take responsibility for everything that I do, and tell others about it. But then, I mean, you said that there was more responsibility that I had to take, and so I'm trying to understand what that is.
Well, let me see how I can say this. You know, there's accusation and there's conversation. Highly driven people, especially an East Coaster like me, we're more about results. You know, I don't care about your feelings in the process. I'm not going to say it the right way to coddle you. And so we are more results driven and results orientated. And so somehow the how overshadows the what we're saying and the spirit we're trying to say it in. And so when I say take responsibility, one of the basics of generosity when it comes to communication and effective communication is to be responsible for how your communication lands. you know, to what, well, Jacob was alluding to, prepare the soil. If you want to plant a seed, you've got to prepare the soil, and it can't be hard, rocky, frozen soil full of weeds. So how you approach a conversation to have greater influence and impact is you've got to win the process. And the process is people want to feel seen, heard, and respected. And a lot of times I know with me as a driven personality also came the impression that I'm right and I know what I'm doing and I'm taking the education, especially when it came to real estate and my relationship with my husband. You know, I was the driver behind that. And when he wasn't as driven to succeed and work morning, noon, and night like I was in the beginning of our real estate career, I had some huge judgment about that, and it showed because I don't hide this face, you know. And you know, I think somebody saw me roll my eyes earlier. That was kind of, you know, my eyes are very well exercised when I'm disappointed in something. They get a workout. And so my point in sharing that is when you are, there are some things that influencers have in common. They teach people how to think, not what to think, but how to think. They challenge people to be better, and they also role model the way. And so it really is, how do you land your conversation and communication to inspire action? And I can use just a recent presidential debate as a good example. President Trump, when pressed to denounce white supremacy, said to the
Where'd you go?
Oh, the one time she freezes. Oh my gosh.
I know where she was going. Stand back and stand by. That's
favorite word from him,
Okay,
right?
just so you know, we lost all of that. For some reason, you were hacked and you were frozen. We heard nothing.
Your server froze. Yeah.
We're all like, she's going there. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Emily was like, oh, get the popcorn. Everybody else was like, yeah, what's going on?
I was still waiting for it. I was really
We're
waiting.
still waiting. You got us ready.
Okay, where did I stop?
When President Trump failed to denounce white supremacy.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
it wasn't everything that I said. Okay, okay.
Then you go, when he said and then froze, and then I finished it for you because I knew what it was.
Oh, okay. When he said to the Proud Boys, stand down and stand by. So in his mind, he convinced himself that that was denouncing white supremacy. However, the Proud Boys, that's now their slogan, and they're taking it as a rallying cry to wait for him to give the word, is what my experience of that is. And so if I were coaching the president, it's his responsibility to make sure his communication lands the way he intends it to land. So if someone misunderstands, like he likes to say, oh, I was just being sarcastic, you know, how he likes to say that, like, no, you won't. You were just caught and then you're pretending you were just joking. So we all know that, not to get political, but it's really a good demonstration on how we get to be responsible. So a lot of times you'll hear me say to people that I'm in a conversation with, I'll ask them, what did you hear me say? And there's a lot of times where what they heard is not what I wanted them to hear, what I intended them to hear. And so instead of saying, you're wrong, you heard me wrong, I've taken it upon myself to say, no, that's not what I meant. Let me try this again another way, because this is what I'm really trying to say. And then always, you know, when someone is talking to you the same way, yeah, you know, I'll stop Jacob and say, okay, this is what I heard you say. I just want to be clear that I'm understanding that this is what you wanted me to hear. So that's what I mean by taking responsibility for the conversation, the connection, to make sure that your communication lands it's not just the other person's wrong, they misunderstood, and they're an idiot because that's not what I was saying and they should have known. But when we take personal responsibility for what we say, how we say it, and the intention behind it, but also learning how to phrase the positive. I mean, listen, no relationship was ever made stronger by accusations. So we've got to really learn how to frame conversations so that they are effective, connected. Ask yourself these questions. Who am I in this? What do I want? What do they want? Do I feel seen, heard, and respected? Do they feel seen, heard, and respected? Because conflict tends to happen when you make it about you. And you make it about you followed by judgment. It's I need versus we want. So when you're in negotiations and mediations, bring the other person into it. Like, we want a resolution. We want this to succeed. We want this to move forward. Not, I need you to this and I need this, take it away from you. And really, that really actually can contribute to the conflict. And so be more collaborative. I would say learning how to be more collaborative in your conversations, but also making sure everybody feels seen, heard, and respected, including you. This is not one-sided. Does that make sense? I know I was rambling and probably was frozen the whole time. So
No, it totally makes sense. But what happens if you take that approach of, all right, take the I out and go with the we, but the other group of people that you're speaking with almost like stalemates you and just kind of puts up a wall, and they're like, well, no, not really. And when you're trying to come to the table with a peace offering to shake hands across, to make deals and do business, what happens then?
I would say get curious. Get curious before getting furious. That's interesting. Tell me more about that. I'm curious to see why you feel that way.
Well, I working with
something in mind particular?
No, it's a situation that happened last night, honestly. Working with some individuals and been doing a lot of work. And I understand in real estate, not every deal is a deal that's ever going to get closed. But when you seem to be the only one that's providing a generating lead system for them, and then when you come to the table to ask how we can expand and grow and create more revenue for every individual, but your response that you get back is almost like, well, like you're coming to the table and you're like, how can we work together to benefit both of us more than what we're actually doing?
Mm-hmm.
But then you just got like stalemated. It's like you're coming with an olive branch, but you're just kind of getting a wall.
As if there was a little bit of a conflict that you needed to create a peace offering. So that's where I'm getting confused.
It wasn't so much trying to create a peace offering. You're just trying to be like, all right, how can we all benefit more than the system was already in place?
Okay, and is that what they desire? Do they want everybody to benefit more than the system that's already in place?
That was the impression going into the meeting. And then it just sort of turned a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really state something, without really knowing kind of both sides. But you know what, you're only responsible for who you're being, not for how the other person is responding or reacting. And that's where the expectation is. Maybe you had an expectation that wasn't met, so you're feeling a little bit more disappointed and frustrated with how the meeting went, because I've had that with my own husband, where I'm vulnerable and intimate and pouring out my heart and how I feel, and all of a sudden he shut down, doesn't speak to me on New Year's Eve, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I was just really being honest and vulnerable and open, and he could see how much I love him because I just want to spend New Year's Eve alone with him. And I couldn't figure out why the shutdown, to where he went to bed early and I was left watching, the ball drop by myself and feeling really butthurt, to where I called my coach and I'm like, oh. And finally, when I talked to my husband, because he was installing a water heater on New Year's Day for one of our tenants who I gave birth to. And I said to him, I was like, we need to talk about what happened. And I asked him, and this is something I didn't ask him when I was pouring my heart out. I asked him, what did you hear me say? Because in my mind, I was clear. I love you. I want to spend New Year's Eve alone with you because we always seem to be with other people and I don't get your full attention. And I just want to be just me and you alone. What he heard was that for the past 20 years, I've had miserable New Year's Eves. That's exactly what he heard. And that's exactly what he told me. And I'm like, wait, what? That is not. And so, the only thing I can think of, Bo, is maybe a check-in every few sentences or so to see where everybody's at, if everybody's still on the same page, if they're hearing what you think you're saying, and to check in a little bit more often. I didn't follow my own advice and I ended up having a miserable New Year's Eve, but then we had a do-over because we both realized that, I didn't practice, which is in my ebook, which I can actually put in the chat if you guys want to download it. It's my website. Hang on. It's on my website, which is evamedilek.com. And it's actually 6 powerful ways of being that foster effective communication and connection in your relationships. And I'll just put it here. And one of those is always ask, what did you hear me say? Or check in. This is what I heard you say, because we bring feelings into a lot of it. And a lot of times feelings are misunderstood and misconstrued. And to be clear, this is, if that's not what I said, okay, let me say it a different way, because that's not what I meant. And so it's possible that they heard something entirely different from what you were saying, which had them get defensive and pull back. Maybe it was the how you said it, or some of the words you used had different meaning to them. So you never know until you ask, what was it about what I said that had made you have this reaction? I'm curious. And just be curious, like, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. Because I'm not sure I'm fully understanding.
Eva, and first I'm going to say Eva's my coach. That's number one. She's fabulous. But Bo, what I find is human nature is to be insecure. And you may have been asking a question that they didn't have the answer to. And therefore they got maybe defensive. So in exchange, I don't know, because I wasn't involved in the conversation. If you gave, well, can we try doing this to forward the business? You know what I'm saying? So it may have put them a little bit on guard, and but I don't know. I mean, I used to talk I worked for a major bank, and there was a 6'4" vice president who would walk around the building and he would have his head down all the time. And everyone said, oh, he's a snob. I said, did you ever think that maybe he's shy? Within a few weeks, he was sitting on my desk talking to me. He was shy, but I was then always the one that said, hello, how are you? How's your day? Mm-hmm. So people really, at the core of everything, we're insecure beings that just want to hear, you're great. Wouldn't you say, Eva? I don't know. I mean, that's how.
I want to hear I'm great all the time.
You are.
And then but because I was raised by a dad who told me anybody who ever gave me a compliment wanted something more from me, I grew up having a hard time receiving compliments. And it's something I actively, consciously work on, because it's in my mind, especially if it was a boy, that they just wanted to sleep with me. They just wanted something from me. And when you hear that from a teenager on, from somebody you admire, who's your dad, you start to believe that. So anybody would say any type of compliment, it was like bullshit. You just want something.
And I never got any. We had like similar. I never got a compliment growing up.
Yeah, and so, you know, just how these seemingly innocuous incidents and early life experience really can show up to really sabotage and damage some of our relationships that we may not be fully aware of. Like, I never really realized why I had a hard time accepting compliments until I did this work. I just thought I was just being modest or something, but it really went deeper than that. Anyway, I hope this helped. I know we're over time, hon, and I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
I
I have a question.
Yeah.
If we want to work with you in terms of getting coaching from you, how do we get in contact with you?
Oh, let me leave my email and let's create a time. I should actually put, if I wasn't so spazzy.
I can also connect you guys, but yes.
I put it in the chat, my email, and reach out, and we can just, I'll send you a link to my calendar for sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I will tell you, game changing. You'll love it. So, all I'm saying. Well, guys, that was your Friday investor party with your extra special guest of honor, Miss Eva MEDILEK. What'd you guys think?
Super.
Helpful, insightful?
Woo,
Some food.
woo. Hey, Autumn. Autumn, I love your picture, by the way. Oh my God. That's so hot. Isn't that hot? Look at her.
It is the best photo she's ever taken. She'll tell you that herself.
She's so
Jacob,
adorable.
the most unrealistic picture of me, but I love it. So much filter.
It's a bot.
And by the way, she's like a mother of 10, so you wouldn't even know it. It's amazing. So
She's gorgeous.
I know she's in Hawaii. I can't wait to go visit. Yeah, she's going to be joining us on season 2 of Real Estate Survivor, which takes me to my announcements. So if you are going to be part of Real Estate Survivor, which season 2, you will be getting an email from me, or you'll be getting a link from me in the Facebook Messenger that was sent to all of you who were invited.
Now, coming over to my house today, so I'm making sure everything is.
Yes, and if you were not invited, but you want to be part, please let me know. I will take a look and I'll consider sending you an application, make it go. Now, for those of you who want to level up your game and you actually want to take a step to do something more with your business and in your life, this is the community for you. So make sure you go ahead and like us on Instagram, on Facebook, follow us, stay in touch, come back next week. We're going to have a whole new calendar of people coming on next Monday. Also, I want to make sure that you guys, if you are finding this valuable, if you got some insight, please leave a comment, send a message, tell us what you're liking, what you need so we can try to deliver it for you. That means more to us than anything else. We want to know that what we are trying to deliver is landing and that you find value. So thank you guys for being here over and over again and supporting us in our mission to make the world a better place, one party at a time. So until next week, I'm your host, Jacob Jennings, and then party on. Bye-bye, everybody. Mwah.